And those are really powerful examples from the culture where, they never gave up. They never chose the path of dejection, and depression. They maintained hope, they maintained joy. And I remember they would have Tibetan New Year's parties and incense burning outside and, drinking, homemade chang. And all of this are what makes people resilient. And it's very communal. And I think, we sometimes forget that human beings are quite strong. If we chose to allow our mind to be our friend, we are actually quite strong. And examples of these, my parents were just uneducated. My mother was even illiterate, Tibetans. But then they were monastic members who were working on the road, and they were even more resilient. They saw what was happening as an opportunity to practice. So I think the resilience, has to do with actually how you see the situation you're in. If you see it as a state of being where you're stuck, of course it's going to be depressing, especially if it is a difficult situation. But if you see it as part of human reality with a healthy dose of recognition of impermanence and the potential for change, and never forgetting to respect your own dignity of being a human being, then I think we have the capacity to cope with quite a lot of challenges. That I think is a simple lesson that I learned from my parents. At the time as a kid, of course, but then looking back, I can now see, aspects of, because I remember waking up in the tent, my mother getting up and making a Tibetan tea, which requires churning in this kind of big churner, dongmo, making butter tea and then chanting prayers in the morning. And it's actually, it's these aspects of the culture that probably help sustain the kind of resilience of a lot of Tibetans, because thousands of them really worked, and quite a lot of them actually lost their lives behind the Kulu Pass, which was, this, I remember as a kid hearing about so-and-so was lost in the other side of the pass, because it turns out that when you work there in autumn, before a certain snowfall, you have to get back. But if you're stuck there, then there's no food. So sometimes a massive snowfall strikes early, and then there have been quite a lot of casualties. And I remember hearing this phrase, so-and-so was lost to the other side of the mountain, other side of the pass. But even then, I think the Tibetans never really gave up, and they never really lost their sense of humor and joy, which, because even with relation to Tibetan struggle, the struggle is going to go on, because it's the struggle of the people, generations after generation, if needed, will go on. But while you carry the struggle, you do it with a sense of dignity. And that's what His Holiness has taught us. Not to go into the extreme of dejection or the other extreme of violence and animosity towards the other side. I think His Holiness has really been an amazing teacher and leader for the Tibetan people, setting the tone for the very nature of our struggle, which is resilient, firm, compassionate, but never giving up, and clear. And the issue is going to go on. It's even from the Chinese perspective, unresolved issue of Tibet is never good for People's Republic of China as a nation. If they're serious about, long-term stability, you can't have an entire people oppressed and unhappy. It doesn't work like this. It just isn't possible. So it's a simple fact. And so I think His Holiness has been an amazing leader, and we were lucky. We're unfortunate that we suffered tragedy as a nation. But at the same time, we were lucky to have His Holiness as our leader, who really set the tone and has put us on this path where we are going to go until the issue is resolved. It's going to go on, no matter how long it takes.